Hello world, welcome to the 37th Climate Change Emergency Awareness Rally in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, USA. Wilma's here in the rain with me. It's just the two of us today probably, since the rest of the town doesn't care, the rest of the county doesn't care, and the rest of the country doesn't care. So right now it's 18 degrees Celsius, which is 64 degrees outside. Yesterday was 33, 34 degrees Celsius, which is 93, 94 degrees. Today I'm going to talk about some issues, and then at the end I'm going to give you a surprise that I hadn't talked about, and I don't know if anyone else is talking about it, but we'll see what we can do, and if I get through this with the rain. Yesterday the Democratic National Committee decided not to have a climate change debate, which is absolutely shameful. This should be on the minds of everyone all the time, and this should be the big event. You can't have any other side issues and ignore climate change, because climate change is the end all to rule all. So it's so important, and to avoid it and not talk about it is just absolutely ridiculous. Jay Inslee, the governor of Washington, ex-governor, dropped out of the race for president, and he was only the real legitimate climate change speaker. Right now the Brazilian forest is on fire, as is the Arctic forests that ring the entire globe. Brazil produces 20% of the world's oxygen, and people are deliberately setting fires in support of the president of Brazil to show somehow in convoluted thinking that burning down the rainforest shows their support for Bolsonaro, or whatever his name is, a jackass. Basically what they're going to end up causing is a climate change event on a mini scale in Brazil, and it's going to lead to even more drought and floods and devastation. They won't be able to count on their weather anymore. You'll also see a dieback eventually of the trees, because they'll reach a point where they can't survive due to the heat and changing conditions. Now the Arctic is also on fire, and it's the largest forest in the world in that it rings the entire globe from Canada to Alaska to Siberia to Norway to Sweden and around. So it's on fire. It's releasing mega amounts of carbon into the atmosphere through heat fires and permafrost melting. The soot from those fires end up in the Arctic on the sea and on the sea ice, and it causes a loss of albedo for the sea ice. So the sea ice is really melting fast up there, and it also heats up the planet because the sun no longer reflects up there the way it used to. The devastating effect of losing the sea ice will eventually be methane cloud rates in the shallow Siberian seas escaping into the atmosphere, and at that point we'll see a half a point jump in temperature, half a degree Celsius, and we only have leeway for another quarter point or so. It's been devastating already, but things are going to get a lot worse in a hurry, so it's going to be exponential increases in problems. Right now we're going through 1.1 supposedly degree increase since 1880, and they're predicting a 2, 3, 4, 8 degrees eventual increase. Well, you know, things don't just get 8 times worse, they get exponentially worse. So people should be out here in droves. I keep saying this, but there's no one out here other than Wilma, myself, and my wife, and there should be 30 people on each corner. This should be an outright riot at this point. College kids actually have no future. If any college kids or high school kids are watching this, you probably have less than 10 years to survive. And it's well within your interest to get things going and change things and get a political system change. The jet stream, due to the Arctic sea ice melting, is going to go even more wonky, and it'll be impossible to predict weather or grow your crops. So you're going to have mega amounts of feedback loops that are going to happen at that point. Greenland will be a side effect of that as well, because once the sea ice goes, and Greenland is the last holdout for any type of coolness in the Arctic. So you're going to have, again, the jet stream, and then the AMOC, this circulating ocean current, is going to shut down as well. And what happens then is that the Florida area and the Caribbean heat up exponentially because the heat's no longer transported out. You can get massive hurricanes that sit and spin, don't go anywhere. And not only Category 5, I really think a Category 6 is well on the horizon, which hasn't been named yet. Now, once the sea ice goes, things start calming down somewhat, except for storms at the time. You could end up with hydrogen sulfide, which is algae blooms up in the oceans, and eventually they take oxygen out of the air and settle in the seabed, and you get anoxia in the oceans. So, and then you get a hydrogen sulfide gas coming out, which will wipe out whatever life's left after we go through all this climate change and no food and whatnot. Now, I do have one surprise for you, and I don't ever talk about it. It's about diseases. With the melting ice, you got these animals and different things and bacteria that have been dormant for thousands, if not millions of years. And humans have no immunity to some of these viruses and bacteria. And it's well possible we could have a pandemic of a bacteria virus we know nothing about. So all in all, it's not good news, and we're doing nothing, as you can tell by this town, where it's nothing but wall-to-wall traffic all the time. So America is the bane of the existence of this area and the world, and we're not doing anything, and it's going to drag everyone down. We're not leading the world. In fact, we're trying to pull the world in the opposite direction due to our lack of political leadership. And it's not only just the President of the United States. I mean, locally, we built a school. They didn't have anything that was environmentally conscious about it. They use halogen lights. There's no solar panels. There's no forethought. They use flat roofs. I mean, the whole thing was just nuts. And then you got local politicians who don't do anything either. They make asshole comments as they walk by you. You know, like, if it was colder out, we want a climate change. Well, yeah, it kind of makes sense. So the feedback loop's going to kick in. I really suggest people get out and start protesting. The situation is coming to a head, and I would think by next year we're in big trouble due to the sea ice loss that's going to occur back then. So next week we're having another climate change rally. That's on the 30th. As the trucks go by. Climate change rally is on the 30th, Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, at the square, 11 a.m. Also, Tanya and I are planning on going down to Washington, D.C. on the 20th for the worldwide climate change protest, and I will do a live broadcast from there. We're going to go down early, ride the subway down. And so that'll be on the 20th of September. So next week we'll see you here on the 30th of August. All right, see you later. Bye.